Hey guys, we're back again at HalfTime Roomies, and the Los Angeles Lakers have just won their 17th championship, tying the most in league history with the Boston Celtics at 17 apiece. LeBron James and Anthony Davis delivering in the bubble,
Yes.
10 years after Kobe did. We have with us Lakers super fan Roopam Singh,
No, it's not.
and it was a blowout contest last night. After a very tough game 5, LeBron James came back, had a good game himself. Anthony Davis, despite the niggling injuries that he's had, did well, and they took a very comfortable game 6, took the championship. And so, your thoughts on James's future with the Lakers and the franchise itself?
Well, I mean, considering the fact that he's the oldest person on the team and he performed as well as he performed last night specifically, but throughout the finals in general, is a testament to how great a basketball player he is and how great of an athlete he is, that even when he saw that Anthony Davis, his injuries were leading him to not play as well, he was able to pick up that slack and be a great teammate and probably an even better basketball player.
Yeah. LeBron James' 17th season, still delivering 29 points per game in the finals, almost 30 points per game in the finals.
Almost 30.
11.8 rebounds. He had 8.5 assists. Put in some numbers with the blocks and steal as well. Did very well on the defense, especially, and mostly played as a point guard throughout the finals.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think we would not have seen LeBron being as much of a scorer had Anthony Davis not succumbed to some of his injuries. And I think that's where he sort of picked up the scoring side. But yeah, you're right. Like in terms of just assists and rebounds, I think that was what his focus was primarily going to be going into the finals. And I think I think he did great in that regard. And we talked about how Anthony Davis would have been probably the pick for the MVP.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he was having some ankle and foot issues. And again, it's a testament to LeBron James and the sort of player he is.
Yeah, going by the first 3 games, I think we both spoke about this earlier last week, that Davis, AD, looked like the guy to take home the MVP award until he had the injuries. But I mean, the rest of the cast, I mean, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Caldwell Pope, even to some degree, Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, they all just put in their shift, played really well, and I feel like LeBron and AD had a great cast around them to help them so much.
100%. I would specifically want to point out Rajon Rondo and Caldwell Pope, both of whom had amazing performances. Rajon Rondo continues to just amaze me at how great of a playmaker he is, and he's just such a sharp. He has just such a sharp basketball intellect.
Yeah,
and I think this team would be incomplete without that man.
Yeah,
great performance.
I mean, to some degree, I think this is kind of, I personally would label them kind of as the redeem team, especially for guys like Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, J.R. Smith. I mean, not that J.R. Smith played much in the finals, but just the kind of guys who came through and just played their bits and parts and let AD and LeBron just achieve the greatness that they were supposed to achieve. A really good team, but we also need to talk about the Miami Heat.
Yes.
I mean, a very young team being led by Eric Spoelstra, who has 2 championships under his belt. He's been with the Heat for 25 years at this point, head coach for the last, I think, 12 years.
Yes.
But Jimmy Butler,
man, what regardless of how great a performance the Lakers put up, it has to be said, Jimmy Butler pretty much single-handedly took this team to Game 6.
Yeah,
I would say. They had some injuries on their team, and some of their who am I thinking of? Dragic?
Yeah, Goran Dragic had an injury.
Yeah, he had
Bam Adebayo was injured for a couple of games.
2-3 games, yes. And it's I think he played the most in terms of minutes in this final series, more than I think even LeBron. And he really put himself out there. He really put his body on the line, and what an impressive performance by that guy as well.
Yeah, I mean, even guys like Tyler Herro and Duncan Robinson really played well when Bam Adebayo was fit and played on those games. He did really well as well. He's probably the only big guy, the only big unit on that team who was doing most of the defense on the rim. Yeah, I mean, Lakers winning was expected because, I mean, of course, LeBron James is there, but also a great team that Lakers had. But Miami put up a good fight.
They did put up a good fight, and I think we talked about this when we were watching Game 5 and how close to it got right up till the end.
Yep.
And I think the world over, you saw, well, justified or unjustified, the frustration people had with the Lakers and Danny Green specifically.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to, I mean, players are going to make mistakes. I think it's a little unfair to criticize players, especially when it comes down to seconds.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of a testament to the Heat and and Sportsa and what those guys were able to do and challenge this Goliath of a team.
Yeah.
And do so well.
Yeah, Game 5 was close. Really good game. Probably the most interesting game of the playoffs, I would say.
Yeah.
Really good game. So LeBron now moves 4-6 in the finals. 4 championships with 3 different teams. He has 4 final MVPs as well. And he joins the great Michael Jordan as the only guy to have 4 final MVPs and 4 league MVPs.
Right.
So those two now stand apart in a league of their own. And so where does that put now LeBron James in the conversation of... And again, I mean, the conversation of GOATs is always a very contentious one because there's so many hypotheticals and so many ifs and buts and so many comparisons between different eras, right?
Right.
I'm a Jordan guy. And I mean, there are stats and some stuff that I would point out. But for me, the thing is, I have started to appreciate LeBron's greatness in the last 5 or 6 seasons, I would say.
Right.
For me, if Jordan had not played in the NBA, LeBron would definitely be the greatest of all time. But in your opinion, where does this 4-6, where do the 4 championships, especially with LeBron winning in his 17th season at 35 years old, he's about to be 36 in 2 months.
Yeah.
Where does this place LeBron James for you?
Well, I mean, I think that... like you talked about his age, and like people talked about when he was going to the Lakers that he was just going to Hollywood to make all these deals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think like with this season specifically, he showed that, like, you know what, he could probably make movies and be a great basketball player, at the same time. And I think you talked about eras. I'm kind of now at that place where I think like it's unfair to compare the greats of different eras.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think there's a place for Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, and all, like a variety of future players as well to be at that top tier. And I think it's going to be one of those. I mean, I'm sure there will be contentious conversations among people that want to have those, but for me, LeBron is up there now, and the fact that like this season was one of his best performing, especially in the finals, I think. Like, I mean, is there really a question as to whether or not he can deliver at least for a couple more years, if not more?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point that LeBron James will keep delivering at this pace for at least 2 more years at the very minimum. Do you see LeBron maybe retiring with the Lakers in the next couple of seasons if he gets another championship?
I think if he gets another championship, maybe 2. I think Lakers, he should retire with the Lakers. I think he should just leave after that, yes.
Right. So next year, the season's done. I think we start again in a month or 2. I mean, in a normal year, NBA would have been starting this month already. But where do you see how do you see the Western Conference building up next year? Because we'll have the Golden State back at full strength. Teams like Oklahoma, Portland, and Rockets. I mean, some excellent teams in the Clippers as well. There's some excellent teams in the West. So how do you see the Lakers being challenged in the West next year?
Well, I mean, you talked about Golden State. I think they will be probably the the primary challengers that the Lakers will have to watch out for. I think the other ones that like they'll probably need to watch out for is also probably the Clippers. I
Right.
think like they'll make some adjustments. I think Kawhi was new to the team. I think like they've probably learned some lessons. I mean, of course, Rockets, Trailblazers, they're always, you always got to watch out, and OKC as well. But like, yeah, I think primarily, I think Golden State, and for me, I think Clippers are probably the team. And again, primarily Golden State Warriors.
From the Golden State Warriors, yeah. Eastern Conference, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP of the Year. The Bucks are not the most talented team, but they're being led by probably the guy who's one of the best on the planet today.
Yeah.
How do you see the East kind of lining up with Heat having such a good team? Philly now have Doc Rivers as their head coach for the next
Right.
5 years. Raptors keep doing well despite losing Kawhi.
Yeah.
And then you have teams like Celtics who were unexpectedly not in the finals as
Yeah.
so many had predicted. And then you have the Bucks as well. So assuming Giannis does not leave the Bucks, how do you see the East heating up next season?
Yeah, like we used to talk about how the Eastern Conference was just weak,
Yeah.
and how like winning the Eastern Conference was really just a toss up between a couple of teams.
Mhm.
And I think that's changed. Like
Yeah.
something's happened over the last 2 years, and like now you have all of these great teams led by these great players and coaches, and you talked about the Raptors and the Heat and the Bucks.
Mhm.
Even the Celtics, like these are all teams to watch out for now. It's not a foregone conclusion anymore. And shout out to the Raptors for like showing that like it wasn't just all about Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
I think Nick Nurse has he's shown that he's up to the challenge of coaching this team. And yeah, the Raptors will probably be one to watch out for more than probably this season, because it was, I think Nick Nurse is still sort of like getting used to this team, and probably I mean he was the assistant coach for a while as well, so it's not to say that he hasn't been around, but I'm pretty sure that the more he plays that role, the better he'll get at it.
Yeah, Nick Nurse was the coach of the year this year. Pascal Siakam is probably the most important piece in the Raptors lineup right now. Yeah, great season, good finish of the season. I think they did well with the bubble at Disney.
Yeah.
All teams. I think these playoffs were one of the most interesting playoffs in the last 5 or 6 years, probably. It was a good few weeks of the NBA playoffs.
Yes.
It was a good final series. Heat really brought the heat to the Lakers, and congratulations to Los Angeles and the Lakers organization, and LeBron James still conquering in his 17th season. And I think that does it for us at HalfTime Roomies.
Yeah, and shout out to the NBA for organizing this so well.
Yeah.
A lot of other organizations have dealt with a lot of issues, and I think they did a really good job.
Oh yeah, compared to the MLB and the NFL, they've done a spectacular job. Really well done by Adam Silver and the whole team. So I think that does it for us at the HalfTime Roomies. We will see you guys soon. Do like, share, and subscribe, and stay safe and stay home. Take care. Cheerio.